Now that we've set the items that are normally included with ham and cheese and roast beef subs, let's talk about cheese selections. Currently in our Super button, we'll go to the preview screen right now. If we select a ham and cheese sandwich, we can select any and all cheese selections. Well, our ham and cheese sub only permits one cheese selection to be made, so we need to control the number of items in the cheese group that can be selected. Another setting in our Super button allows us to control the number of items that can be selected in a group. We're going to be setting up button groups to control the number of cheese selections that are permitted for a ham and cheese and a roast beef sandwich. Item quantity selections are controlled with button groups. Next, let's set up button groups for all of the items in our Super button. Click this button to edit the button groups. First, we'll name each of our groups. Group 1, let's call that subs. Group 2 will be cheese. Group 3 will be veggies. And Group 4 will be condiments. And we'll save these button groups. Now that our button groups are defined, we need to assign each of the buttons on the button map to one of the button groups. To do this, click the button that you want to assign, and then in this button group drop-down menu, select the group that each of these buttons belongs to. Ham and cheese and roast beef belong both to the subs button group. Notice after I make these button group selections that the color of these buttons changes. Color and type style are one of the features that you can enable with button groups. Let's go back to our button groups menu. Notice here that this color panel shows you the color of the text and the color of the button. So each of our button groups will automatically be assigned a color as we assign them to a group. Let's assign now American. That's part of the cheese button group. And cheddar. It's also part of the cheese button group. Provolone. And no cheese is also part of the cheese button group. Next, we'll make our assignments for vegetables. Drop down the button group list, choose veggies, and save that. Same thing with tomato. And onion. Now we'll make our condiment button group selections. And we have all of our items on the Super button now assigned to a button group. We have our sub sandwiches on the left, our cheese selections, our vegetable selections, and our condiment selections all assigned to a button group. Now that we have all the buttons on the button map of our Super button assigned to a button group, let's see how this looks in the preview. If we select ham and cheese, notice we have our vegetable and our condiment selections automatically selected. And if we wanted to put cheddar on this sandwich, we can select cheddar, but you can also select American, provolone, and no cheese. We need to make a setting in the button group that will only permit one of the cheese buttons to be selected. So let's click Close, and then go back to Edit Button Groups, and go to the cheese group, and this setting allows us to permit only one button in the specified group to be selected. So in this case, when a ham and cheese or roast beef sub is ordered, only one of the cheese selections can be made. Save this selection, go to Preview. Now if I select ham and cheese, our lettuce, tomato, onion, mayo, and mustard buttons are still selected. And then if I select a cheese and then try to select another cheese, only one of the buttons can be depressed. This is controlled with the Select Only One in the button group settings. The way our subs are defined on the Super button, the sub sandwiches do not include a cheese selection. We have to have a way to tell Point of Success that a cheese selection is required. Required selections are also controlled with button groups. Now let's edit our cheese button group again, and you can see this column that says Allow No Selection can be checked to permit no selection to be made. In this example, we have to have a cheese selection on our sub sandwich, so uncheck the Allow No Selection, Save the button group, and let's go back to the preview. Notice that the American, No Cheese, Cheddar, and Provolone buttons are all yellow. This is the attention color in Point of Success, and it says that this requires attention. And in this example, that means that a cheese must be selected. Close this, and we'll go into the order entry program to see how the required selection works. We're in the order entry program. Let's enter a PIN code, and then go to New Order. We'll select the Subs button, and I can order a ham and cheese sandwich. The vegetable and condiment selections are already made, and then when I try to click Close to exit this order entry screen, a screen displays that says the highlighted items are required. In other words, one of the cheese selections is required before this super button can be closed. So the cheddar selection and the ham and cheese selection both appear on our order. We're back in our Super Button Properties window. Let's go to the preview screen again. Just as with the cheese selection that will only permit one cheese to be selected, we need to apply the same setting to the sandwich buttons. Notice that if I choose ham and cheese, I can also choose roast beef. And when a sub sandwich is being ordered, only one type of sandwich can be selected. So let's close the preview window. Go to Edit Button Groups, and we'll say that only one button in the subs group can be selected. We'll also check Allow No Selection so the sub sandwich buttons will not be colored yellow and require a selection. So when we go to Preview now, I can select ham and cheese, and then if I select roast beef, the ham and cheese button pops up. Only roast beef or ham and cheese can be selected. We're back in the order entry program, so I can show you how our subs button works. Enter a PIN code, and click New Order, and go to the subs button. I'll order a ham and cheese sub with cheddar cheese on that sandwich, and then click Close. Notice we have the order here for one 6-inch sub sandwich. It says Add cheddar and add ham and cheese. The more logical way for the items to appear on this ticket would be first to see the sandwich, which would be ham and cheese, and then our additional selection for cheese, which would be cheddar cheese. We can control this with our super button setting. When you need to control the sequence of the items that appear on a customer's order that are put there by a super button, we can control the items on a super button by setting the sort order in the super button settings. We're back to our Super Button Properties window. To control the order of the items that appear on a ticket, click the Ticket Sort Order button in the bottom of the Super Button Properties window, and this window displays. Shown in this window are all of the buttons that appear in the button map, and all you have to do to control the order that these appear on a ticket is to click and drag them to a new position in the list. What I'll be doing is arranging these buttons so first the sandwiches show, then our cheese selections show American, Cheddar, Provolone, and No Cheese, and then our vegetable selections for lettuce, tomato, onion, and then our condiment selections for mayo and mustard will show on the ticket. Save this sort order, and then we'll go back into the order entry program to show you the changes. We're back in the order entry program. Let's enter a PIN code, and then go to New Order. We'll order the same item, which was a ham and cheese sandwich with cheddar cheese, and I'll show you now the difference in how this appears on the ticket. Still, we have one 6-inch sub sandwich, ham and cheese, and then cheddar. So we made the sort order change in the Super Button Properties window, and now all of the items that appear on an order that are placed there by the sub super button will have their sort order controlled.